Okay, well that takes away from my next question because I was going to ask if there was one country artist that you could date, who would it be? But you have a girlfriend, so you know what? I'm going to save you that one.
Carrie Underwood. I mean,
Look at that. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the 615 House podcast. It's your host, Chris Rudiger. If you've been following us along throughout the fall or just joining now, we do appreciate you. I want to thank our folks over at iHeart for working with us. We have a lot more coming in 2024, but this is the last episode to air in 2023. So we have to close it out with a bang. Here's the deal. This next artist is a Georgia boy who was an Air Force veteran, but taught himself to learn guitar and write songs while enlisted. He moves to Nashville. Nashville's known as a 10-year town, but he said, we're going to cut that in half, and we're going to cut it in half again because he was named a Highway Find on Sirius XM, signed a record deal with Riverhouse Artists and Warner, and I believe has 150 million global career streams now, which is insane. He made his Grand Ole Opry debut last month. We're going to have to talk about that, as well as his headlining tour, which is the Muddy Water Rockstar Tour. This guy is absolutely crushing it. He's a good friend of mine, so please welcome into the house, Austin Snell.
what's up, man? Last podcast of the year.
Last podcast of the year.
A lot of pressure, dude.
It is a lot of pressure, man. But I had to make the calls to get you on because we got to close out with a bang. So,
yeah. Well, I appreciate you for having me, man.
Oh, of course,
Been pumped
dude.
about it.
I know you're probably exhausted after your first headlining tour this fall, but
Yeah, dude. Well, yeah. So I didn't grow up like playing 3-4 hour bar gigs like a lot of the people here did.
Yeah.
And so me going on a headline tour was the first taste I had of me playing more than 30-minute sets, 45-minute sets. So it was a lot to learn, dude. And
when you got off, was your voice just
it was shot.
Shot?
It was shot. And that's something I didn't even think about, like playing shows. Like people talked about it and stuff in my interviews and stuff, but I just never really thought that it could get to that, you know?
right?
Like just actually like getting sleep on the road is insane, especially in a Sprinter van. You know?
Yeah, the Sprinter van's tough,
You know,
man.
Sprinter van going 75 down the interstate, dude, is hard to get sleep on.
I think for a lot of people that aren't in the industry, they forget. They just think like tour life's glamorous. You're in these great hotels and this tour bus.
I think they think that just like people just show up to the show. Like they don't know that like people drive to play the show.
Yeah, you're saying you don't have a private jet that can just take you to all your different shows.
Yeah, dude, what are you doing, brother?
Yeah, dude. There's something about the club grind and with your guys. I don't know how close you are with your band, but the late hours of like being in the Sprinter and driving to the next place in the middle of nowhere and just like, I don't know, that culture does it
brings you closer,
it brings you closer, you know?
Well, I mean, that was my main thing with like finding my band, and I've told everybody in it, and I was like, obviously like they're all super talented people, but I told them before they came on, I was like, dude, like I feel like you could be the most talented dude in Nashville, but if you can't come on the road and be cool to hang out with, or like you're causing problems, like it's not going to work. Because when you think about it, you're traveling and living with these guys more than you're playing shows. You know, the show is only an hour and a half long. Like the rest of all of that is just literally you guys sitting in the back of a van, crunched in like freaking sardines, dude.
Grinded.
You know?
Yeah, dude.
Haven't had a shower in 2 days and just So I mean, if you can't like be chill and a good hang, like I mean, and that's every avenue of Nashville. I feel like if you can't be a good hang, then that's like 80% of it, I feel like.
100%, dude. Relationships matter. And I'm glad that you have found a good team and a good band to work with, dude. Hey, man, so you grew up in Georgia, but I was reading a little bit about how you enlisted and you're doing work in the Air Force.
Yep.
How long were you there?
In the Air Force?
Yeah.
I went right after high school, which would have been 2016. I joined and got out 2020, so I did 4 years. I was stationed in California, up around like the Bay Area. Just chill.
Yeah.
I worked on planes.
Was that something that a lot of people from your hometown were doing, or what really inspired your decision to
Not really.
join?
I always knew that I wanted to join.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that I wasn't getting into college at all. Like, I didn't have the money, nor did I have anywhere near the grades to get into college. Like, I think I graduated with like a 2.4.
Yes, you weren't a good student.
It was tough.
Yeah.
So I knew I always wanted to do that, and that's probably why I didn't ever try in school. Really, I knew when I was getting out, I was going in the Air Force or in the military.
You had a plan that was maybe different than like some other students, but it was still there. Were you playing? Were you playing guitar and singing in high school, or did that kind of start?
No, I
later.
I picked up a guitar in training. So I joined. I went to basic training, which is where they yell at you for 2 months. And then after basic, you go to your follow-on training, which you're training for like your job, which I was an aircraft mechanic. So you go to your follow-on and you learn how to work on planes. And they put you in a dorm room with like one other guy. And we hated each other, so we never talked. If we were in the same room, I was on the other side, and like he was on his side of the room. And I was just like watching videos of people playing shows and like Ed Sheeran doing his loop pedal. Have you ever seen him do that?
Insane, dude. I saw it live.
I was watching it one night at like probably 1 a.m. I was like, that's cool as shit, brother. I'm buying a guitar. And I bought a guitar the next day. And like we weren't getting paid anything to be in training. Like it was right after I joined. Yeah. I was making maybe $500-$600 every 2 weeks.
Damn.
But your meals were paid for, so you didn't have to, right. And housing. So I spent like my last $400 I had on a guitar.
You're like, I got food, I got a roof, and now $400 for a guitar. Do you know what guitar it was? It was like
it was a Martin Mini.
Yeah,
a Mini Martin. Yeah.
There you go.
Bought that, and then I was literally just bored, dude. I didn't buy a guitar thinking like, oh, I'm going to be a songwriter or oh, I'm going to be an artist. I was just bored and wanted to learn how to play guitar, and I always like loved music. I feel like I had like a deeper appreciation of it, I guess you'd say, than like the people I grew up around. Mm-hmm. So I always loved music, and I just did it because I was bored and wanted to learn something new. And I did. I got on YouTube and taught myself how to play it, and I got to where I was playing like covers, like half-assed, and I was sending videos to my mom, and she was like, you should post these on Facebook for our friends and family to see. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I just kind of kept doing that, and she finally talked me into posting a video on Facebook. It was like I don't remember what cover it was.
Oh, I got to dig back and find this.
It's probably like Simple Man or something, dude. I don't know what it was.
That was the big moment.
Yeah. And I posted it, and then like our friends and family loved it, and like they were sharing it around and stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. This is like not horrible, I guess, if people are sharing it, or it is horrible. It's either one or the other, It's either pretty good or it's fucking horrible, and they're just sharing it around because it's funny. But
that's cool.
So that's kind of just what I do in my free time. And I did that. And
yeah, I was going to say, I mean, Airforce training is no joke, right? I'm sure
it's not.
I'm sure they're working you pretty hard.
It's not too hard.
And now
it's not too hard.
So you were, all right. So you were doing it, and you had free time, and you were like,
we would go to class. Like it was like mainly just classes. Like we'd go sit in the class.
Okay. So
this is after basics. This is after all the hard stuff. But gotcha. I was going to class at like 6 o'clock in the morning. We were getting off at 3, and then maybe we had to go work out.
Yeah.
And then you were done pretty much for the day.
You're like, all right, Martin Mini, here we go.
Yeah. So we had a golf course on base. And so we'd either play golf or I'd go to my room and play guitar. So
you were living it up and learning. And then you post Simple Man or whatever song it was.
Yeah, dude,
I'm sure like, people react probably like when did it become like, all right, I'm at Airforce training and I'm just playing guitar to like, okay, I'm going to actually like pursue this, because you made the move to Nashville in what, 2022?
Yeah, last year.
Mm-hmm. So there had to have been a moment where you were like, all right, I'm going to do this. Was.
I mean, I think social media played a lot of like a huge role in that, as it does for everybody now. But like I said, like that's what I was doing in my free time, and then I never really started writing songs and writing my own stuff so that was follow-on training. I was in South Carolina for that. And then after that, I moved to California, which is where I was like permanently stationed at for my enlistment. But same thing, really. I mean, it just kind of transitioned to me like learning covers and posting it to then like, let me write songs and do the same thing. Yeah. And at the time it was just Instagram, but like soon after that, like TikTok came around, and like I did the same thing on there. I was just writing songs and posting them. And I actually did a cover of Ray Fulcher's song Ghost. And posted it on my TikTok and Instagram, and then he reposted it onto his story. And like at the time, dude, I was in the like Air Force and like had no connection to anything music related. Like didn't know anybody in Nashville, didn't know how it worked, didn't know anything about it other than like the interviews that I would watch of people talking about it. But I posted this thing and Ray reposted it. And like, I remember I was freaking out, dude. Like my heart dropped in my freaking ass, and I was like,
"You know who Ray Fulcher is?"
Yeah,
for those
yeah.
That don't,
well, he made me want to start. Yeah, he made me want to start writing songs. Like I found out I remember when I found out he wrote a lot of Luke's like first big project. I was like, yeah, let me just study this guy for a second and like figure that out. So yeah, when I posted one of his songs and he reposted it, I was like, it was like a hero of mine, like reposting it.
Right.
So he reposted it, and then the vice president of my label now saw it, and this is 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The president of my label now saw that video that he reposted and followed me, reached out, and was kind of just saying like, when are you moving to Nashville? And I was like, brother, I got 3 more years in the Air Force. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And so he kind of just like stayed in my ear about it. And like, I just continued to do the same thing. Really. I wasn't playing shows. I was just, like I said, on my free time, just writing songs and posting them, and gained a little bit of a TikTok following off of that. And had a couple of videos do pretty well. And then, he just stayed in my ear. And when I got out, it slowly become more of like, or less of a hobby and more of like what I was doing if I wasn't doing anything Air Force related.
Right.
I just fell in love with it, dude. I was like, I don't know, I was addicted to it. Like if I wasn't working or I wasn't getting drunk, like I was like writing songs and like trying to do that.
Did you ever throw concerts at Air Force training?
We'd play around a bonfire, but like, nah, it would have been cheesy, I think.
Yeah, but I didn't know. Well, I'm sure not everyone in the Air Force can just whip out a guitar and sing. So I imagine these guys at least thought it was like
they make
cool
sure I brought a guitar to like the get-togethers and stuff. But no, I was never playing shows, dude. I remember the first show I played was the year before I got out of the Air Force, and it was like a small little bar in my hometown. Went and played, and really other than that, like I'd never played a show before moving to Nashville.
That's wild, dude.
It's insane.
Damn, yeah. So you do move to Nashville, and you talked about the power of social media and Ray sharing your stuff. I will say, I think I'd seen a couple of your videos, but when I really became familiar was when you had that the Cassidy Pope song where you do wasting all these tears, and you kind of put this like, you have this grungy, like gritty interpretation of that. Did you know that you were going to put out that song, or were we sort of like, it's another one of the covers that I can do?
No, I mean, it was a song that like, so like my take on TikTok and like, I think probably helped me get the following I did is because like everybody was doing the same thing. Like everybody was covering the same songs. When Zach Bryan put out Something in the Orange, you scroll through your feed and it was nothing but like 25.
You got to go 20 videos before you get something else.
Dude. Yeah. And it was just a bunch of people covering the same stuff or like singing the same stuff. So like my take on it was like, I'm going to try to do songs that like you don't hear people sing on TikTok and like not just do the popular stuff. And that was just one of those songs that I think I heard on the way back home. I mean, I was in Georgia at this point, so I was out of the Air Force. It's just one of those songs that I heard come on my playlist, and I like forgot about it because it came out in like 2013. And I got home and covered it, and it didn't really do anything until like I moved to Nashville, and it randomly popped off one day. And I always loved the song, so like when we had put out Excuse the Mess, and we were looking for a follow up, and I was writing a ton, but we were like, let's just put out this cover because it was so different and like it was such a 180 from Excuse the Mess, you know?
Yeah.
Just sonically.
Sure.
And we wanted to hit that early on as far as like letting people know that I don't just do like the rock thing. Like I have like, I'm passionate about other stuff as well. Yeah. So it was the perfect, little thing to do, following up the song that kind of got me my start.
One thing I'm curious to get your take on, because TikTok's great and Instagram's great, but they're run on these algorithms. So sometimes when people see something, they want like the exact same thing. So you feel like you almost have to like box yourself into like one lane.
Yeah.
Did you feel like pressure like after? Because Excuse the Mess, for those that have listened, or if you have listened, like huge song, like it's got this like just this big guitars in the chorus, like it's just fun.
It's rocking.
It's rocking. But then you have like I don't know, Wasting All These Tears, probably a little bit more of the emotional side for you. Like, did you feel like the pressure to stay more in the Excuse the Mess box, or do you feel like
no? Because I think there's a place for all of it, for me at least.
Yeah.
And especially like in a time where a lot of the people like our age grew up in a time where iPods were a thing. And like, I know like me growing up, I had an iPod and I listened to literally every type of music. Like I didn't have like just country or like just rock or just rap. Like my playlist went from
who were like your top three on your playlist?
I mean, Jason Aldean was one of them. Like he was on my list, and like it would go from literally Jason Aldean to Lil Wayne to like Rihanna to JB, and then I mean Nickelback and Three Doors Down, and like just it had everything on my playlist. So I think especially now, like you shouldn't feel boxed into anything,
right?
In my opinion, because I mean if it's good music, I'll listen to it.
I agree, man. I think to your point, it's just more accessible, right? Like when I'd imagine, back in the day, you're picking out a CD and you spend your money on it. It's like, all right, I got that shit to listen to. Now you go to Spotify, Apple Music, you get whatever you want.
Yeah.
I love that you're blending all of those different inspirations together. I mean, that's what I think is probably making your sound unique.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. So so you put out those songs. Did Cassidy ever hear? Has she heard Wasting All These Tears?
She's heard it for sure.
Yeah. Have you guys played it together?
Mm-mm. I've never met her.
Really?
Never met her.
Cassidy Pope, if you're listening to this.
I think we were originally supposed to do like content and stuff together for like promotion of the song. Like they were all on board with me doing the cover. It just never happened. But I mean,
well, new year, maybe a new collab.
She just put out a new version of it too.
Did she?
She just did like Cassidy's version or something.
Really?
I don't know.
Are you going to follow up and do Austin's
Probably
version?
not. Probably not. No.
We'll call a truce on that, right?
Yeah, I'm good. I did what I needed to do. I'm cool.
Yeah. You're like, well, hey, dude, it set you up for this, the next year of your life, which is a massive EP, a big headlining tour, and a Grand Ole Opry debut, which we're going to have to talk about. We're going to be right back here on the 615 House Podcast. What is up, guys? We are back. 615 House Podcast. My buddy Austin Snell in the house. Coming off a huge year. They say Nashville is a 10-year town. And literally the past year, you have gone from here to here. You got to play one of the biggest stages, the Grand Ole Opry last month.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I'll just say that. But I mean, first off, I've never taken for granted. I'm super blessed to be where I'm at, and I'm super blessed to have had this happen as fast as it has. But I mean, I've had to learn a lot in the last year, and that's like, I feel like not what a lot of people think of when they think of somebody just doing that. Is like there's so much stuff that you have to learn like on the fly, because like I said earlier, I like didn't grow up playing the 3-hour bar gigs on Broadway, and didn't know how the music industry worked at all when I moved to town. And it kind of just I had to be thrown into the fire a little bit. So, which I prefer to learn that way anyway. I learn best when I just kind of have to figure it out. Yeah.
If there was one hurdle, because you grew so fast this past year, I imagine you're being thrown a bunch of stuff. If there was one, what was the biggest hurdle you felt like you had to overcome?
Trying to blend the business side of things in with the emotional side of things, I feel like. And I feel like the music industry is so like one of one in the fact of like, it's built off of emotions pretty much, like, I mean, people are like pouring their hearts out in these songs, but it's also a business. And it like took me a little while to figure out like, and like even understand that like, okay, yeah, I'm making my music and like I'm pouring my heart out and like I'm speaking how I feel, and it's like a therapy thing for me, and that's how it started for me, was therapy. To like now, okay, I'm kind of somewhat in a way running my business, and you have people on your payroll and like you're paying these people to do certain things, and like it was just a weird little thing to kind of come across, and I didn't ever think about it. I didn't think it would have to ever be that, but yeah, probably that'd probably have to be it.
Man, it's interesting to hear because from an outsider, you see mega stars, and then you don't see a lot of the people that are in the trenches and growing, and you forget like it's this cool thing that's fun to do, and then you boil it down. And you go, wait, no, I have people that are dependent on it. I have, in today's world, you got to hit certain metrics, and the data is so important, right? Which, and then you got to wrestle that with the fact that you still want to put out stuff that you care about. I mean, the worst thing you do is,
and even just to still like stay motivated to do like what you originally want to do. Because like, I mean, I know at least for like in my perspective, like I didn't get into music to make money. I got into music because I enjoyed music and I love music, and like to keep that at the forefront of everything while also trying to like have a business mindset and like strategize on what you're trying to do. It's like kind of a task, but I mean, I think as long as you can remember like why you originally started doing it, you'll be fine. But yeah, that was definitely a hurdle for sure. But
Yeah, for sure.
On the topic of the Opry, yeah, we did play the Opry this year.
Yeah.
And
Unreal.
it was unreal, dude. It was, I mean,
Were you nervous?
I was shaking out my boots, brother.
Yeah,
Like,
I would be too, dude.
and like, it's such a weird little experience, dude, because like, I'd obviously never seen anything happen backstage at the Opry before. I didn't know how it worked, but like when you do your debut, you walk out and like these cameras are waiting on you when you show up to the door, and like they're like, okay, cool. It's like a TV show. It's like out of a reality show, and you walk up and they're like, okay, cool. We're gonna walk up. We're gonna get a shot of you looking up at the sign. You're just gonna take it in and like, okay, cool, cut. We're gonna have you walk 20 more feet and like get the shot of you like walking up the walkway, and like you're gonna walk in and like security guy's gonna hand you a little pamphlet and cut, cool. I'll walk 5 more feet. We're gonna get this shot here. And like up until I walked on stage at the Opry, there was 0 time for like me to like actually just sit
and like
think. Which is probably a good thing, to be honest with you, dude. Like the fact that like, I didn't have a lot of time to think about like the gravity of what was about to happen was probably best. Yeah, honestly, because like I walked on stage and like we were sitting side stage, and then stage guy turns and he's like, all right, brother, good to go. And you walk on stage and like we just plugged in and like got us quick little like line check, and then we were off.
And you're good to go. That's unreal, man. I think they probably keep you busy for that reason, where you know, it's such a great experience, but hopefully when you do step in that circle, you have kind of a moment to take in. I want to show this one Grand Ole Opry clip.
No matter what you're struggling with in life, whether that's heartbreak, anxiety, depression, any sort of mental health, God has got you every step of the way, and I promise you that. And I, for one, have struggled with self-confidence my whole life, man. I've struggled with believing in myself and believing that I belong in what I'm doing. And honestly, looking out here tonight, man, my mom and my parents are here, my brother, my fans, my friends, my family. I can honestly say, looking out tonight, man, for once in my life, and finally, I feel like I belong somewhere. I feel like I belong in country music, and it's all thanks to God, man.
You get pretty emotional, and you talk about mental health, self-confidence, and then you also talk about your faith and your relationship with God. What does that mean to you?
It means everything, dude. I mean, so my mom raised me in the church. Like I grew up going to church, but I feel like I didn't ever really think about what that really meant until I had to kind of find it on my own, you know? And like when you move out of your hometown when you're, you know, just graduated from high school, never had to figure anything out. Like I had everything done for me. Like my clothes were washed and my food was on the table. And like, thankfully, you know, I was blessed to have parents that, you know, provided for me and like did the best they could. But like, I mean, I never had to experience life, and like it was just cut off like that. You know, like right after high school, I went in, and then you're on your own. You learn a lot. You learn a lot, and had to figure a lot of stuff out. And I mean, mental health is the reason why I got into songwriting anyway, because I'm not the most, you know, vocal guy. I'm not a center of the room guy. Like I don't like. It's hard for me to have those deep conversations with just a random person. And so that's why I got into songwriting, was like I could just kind of dump all of that out, and like I didn't have to really talk about it. I could just dump it all out in the song, and then like, okay, I got that off my chest.
Yeah, it was a different vehicle.
Yeah, it was literally therapy for me. And I mean, going through breakups and like going through like, you know, financial struggles and, you know, anxiety and all of this and that, like that's how I was getting that off my chest, was just through the songs that I was writing. And so, yeah, it's super important to me, dude.
Yeah, man. Well, I think this clip sums it up. I mean, you're clearly emotional, and you talk about, you know, trusting and believing in God, and how that has led you to where you are now. And hopefully you're more confident with the fact, you know, you as a person and your abilities with music, man, because people are clearly connecting to it. So,
absolutely.
Well, man, for those that don't know Austin, Austin did put out an EP, Muddy Water Rockstar.
We did do that.
It's got some killer songs on it, dude. And you just got off your headlining tour. You guys got to check that out. I want to talk about another smaller or 3-song project that you put out this year, which is called Songs from My Phone. My favorite song, Things I Shouldn't Do, is a ripper. But you put out this song like Lines, and there's intro, and it's like, I'm at 11% battery. Like, let's rip this or whatever. Like, it seemed like you guys recorded those and then just put them out like the next day? Like, what was I feel like it was so quick from the writing process to just like, it felt so authentic. Like it was like day one there. What was the thought process?
Well,
behind that?
they were technically demos. Like the songs that got put out on Spotify were demos. They were beefed up a little bit. Like we sent them and got them like, like brushed off. But like the songs that came out were like the demos that I had sitting in my phone, which is why we named it Songs from My Phone. Cause it was literally just, like what I had in my phone. And like we went into a song meeting and, I was pretty newly signed at Warner. And we had our song meeting and we were trying to figure out, like release schedule and what we were going to do. And like, we had big plans for like everything, but I was like, I want to get music out as fast as possible. And like, that's one thing that I'm pretty set on. It's like having a pretty steady release schedule. And when I write something I love, like just putting it out. And so we were going around the room, just kind of fishing around ideas and how we were going to like market that and figure that out. And we were kind of just like, we'd have these songs like that I wrote that I love. And like for no particular reason, like it doesn't fit any sort of, storyline. I don't think it just was, there were 3 songs that I fell in love with and, loved listening to them. So I was like, and I loved them the way they were.
Mm-hmm. What I loved about it was it felt like you were using Spotify or Apple Music as like a canvas or a feed, just like you would like TikTok or Instagram. I think right now we're consuming so much music and our attention span is so short that you might post something. If you don't put it out for 2 months, people might forget about it. And I think like in your case, it was like, hey guys, I wrote this. I want to put it out right now. Like go check it out. It just felt very authentic. Do you, and you mentioned it in your release strategy, do you feel like every artist should be putting out more music? Where do you stand?
I mean, it depends on where you're at. Like, obviously, if you can afford to put out music, when I moved to town, I couldn't afford it. Like I was broke and like didn't have a job and was living off of the little bit of savings account that I had when I moved here. Because I wanted to do it as full time as I could when I moved here. Like I just like refrained from getting a job as long as possible. And thank God that like by the time I had run out of money, like I had some success and like signed my publishing deal. And that was kind of just my first job in Nashville. But, yeah, like if I could do it, then I would put out as much music as I could. But for me and like where I was financially, like at the time when we wrote Excuse the Mess, like I didn't have the money to put that song out at all. Yeah. So like, I mean, I spent like the last bit of money I had on like the hopes of this song doing well.
You're like, this isn't like I want it to do well. It needs to do well.
Yeah. And I mean, it's funny because like I put that song out and like, I was literally like about to start a job at Amazon, and I went from my interview at Amazon and did my training and like drove the big like box truck and like had to back through like 20 cones and stuff. Yeah. Left that, went directly to River House, which is my publishing label, and had a meeting because they, had saw Excuse the Mess and like loved what like the sound that we were going for and like it was different and cool. But the only info that I had on that meeting was like, and I had taken like some publishing meetings before, like I had talked to some people. And so I knew pretty much what I thought I was going to expect when I got there. It was just like, oh, what are your goals? Like, cool. Okay, cool. We'll keep an eye on you. Yeah. And so I went from Amazon and went to River House and they offered me a deal on the spot.
Wow.
And so, I mean, I never had to have really a job here.
Yeah. So, It was down to the wire, cool. but it would have worked.
Which was perfect timing because, I mean, with Excuse the Mess doing as well as it did, like I didn't want to let that just fluster out and like disappear. Yeah. The way it needed to be done was, the way we did it, which was you have this song. Okay, now let's keep this going and keep the momentum right.
Invest back into
which I didn't have the money to do. So like, which was why it was, I mean, a blessing that it worked out the way it did and like the timing of things.
That's amazing, dude. I love that story. I want to talk more about music in a little bit, but I do. We've been doing this new segment. I think Austin's a good candidate for it. What do you think? Producer Matt's nodding his head a little bit. Here's the way this works. All right. This is rank these 5 things. This segment, it's very, very simple. You got to rank these 5 things 1 through 5, but you don't know what comes next. So, for example, if we were ranking water, I said Fiji, you could put it 1 through 5 and put it at 3, but you don't know the next water that's coming. Okay.
Okay.
Rank these 5 things without knowing what comes next, and the category is fast food. First up, we have Chick-fil-A.
3. Just 1 through 5, right?
Yeah,
3.
You were quick with that. All right, you're saving some spots. Taco Bell.
I'm gonna go smooth 4 on Taco Bell.
Okay, Chick-fil-A over Taco Bell. I like that. What about Raising Cane's chicken? You've had Raising Cane's. Yes?
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
They got one in Nashville now too. I might get that for lunch.
Yeah, I don't want to put it number 5. Can't be 5. I gotta go 3.
You already had Chick-fil-A at 3.
2.
2. All right, we got 2 for Raising Cane's, 3 for Chick-fil-A, 4 for Taco Bell. We got Burger King.
That's 5 for sure.
Did he do this right? He's got 1 spot left. It has to be the one. The last one on the list was Cracker Barrel.
Dude, I mean, I think that's pretty sick. Yeah.
I actually left it last because I was reading beforehand. Your manager, him and I were talking, and he had said that Cracker Barrel was one of your favorite fast food joints. Okay, so cool. that was pretty well done. I respect that.
Dude, I used to work at Burger King.
Did you really?
Was my first job ever.
No wonder you put it at 5. You're like, get that out of here.
I swear, bro. My manager used to send me to the freezer every day. Like after the first day, she sent me to the freezer to organize boxes.
Yeah.
And I was back, she wouldn't let me out of the freezer all day. I mean, she didn't lock me in, but she's like, hey, you have this to do. And if it's not done, then
right,
you're fired. But she's like, so you might just want to bring your jacket to work every day. So I just have this thing for Burger King now.
You just won't go there. Screw the Junior Whopper.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Good.
Well, it is. We got one more round here, and that's because it is the holiday season. I'm hoping that you've seen all of these, but we're going to do this. Rank these 5 without knowing what comes next, and the category is holiday Christmas movies. Movies. Okay. First one is The Polar Express. Have you seen it?
I'm gonna go 4.
Okay. There are some other good ones on the list. I like that take. Home Alone. Original Home Alone.
Number 1.
Dude, it's unreal.
Yeah.
There's a lot of controversy about this, but Die Hard, because it is a Christmas movie.
I haven't seen it.
Dude.
Never seen it.
I mean,
I've heard the word Die Hard.
Yeah, dude, it's an unbelievable movie. You need to watch it.
Check it out.
That's what you're going to do when you have your time off. It is a Christmas movie. Some people say it's not, but it is a Christmas movie. I stand by that. Okay, we'll put that as we'll put that at 3, I guess. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. You got 2 and 5 left. Those are your spots.
This got to go 2.
And
Grinch is a good movie.
Grinch is a good movie. I like that take. The only problem is the last one on the list was Elf. And you just buried Elf at number 5.
It wouldn't have been number 1. I wouldn't have put Elf at 1.
All right, if you stand by that?
Yeah, it wouldn't have been number 5, but
yeah, we can review the tapes and figure out where we need to adjust.
I got screwed on that one, dude. I didn't Die Hard.
That's what happens when you don't know what comes next, dude. That was well done. I think your fast food game was pretty solid. I thought the movies we'll talk about that offline because I have a bone to pick with you about how you haven't seen Die Hard.
All right.
All right, guys. We're going to be right back here on 615 House Podcast with Austin Snell. What's up, guys? We're back. Austin Snell in the house. Last podcast of 2023 for us. But speaking of big things in 2024, many more podcast episodes are coming. And also, speaking of 2024 for Austin Snell, many more shows, right?
A lot.
What's the deal for 2024? You going on tour?
Yeah, we're doing a lot of shit, dude. I mean, we've played 80. I think they said 80 shows this year. Next year's gonna be even bigger. We're doing Chase Matthews in February.
Let's go, Chase, buddy.
I think we're doing 15 shows with them. And then freaking Jason Aldean in July.
Yeah,
we're first to 4 on Jason. So
when you got that call, walk me through how it happened.
I mean, Jason is like God in Georgia. So
of course.
I mean, Jason is the guy that you look up to. Like, he's like the hero of Georgia. Like, he's from Macon, which is 30 minutes from where I'm from. And he's the dude that made it out. And like, my mom was a huge fan. My dad's a huge fan. I was a huge fan.
Yeah.
So I mean, dude, to get that call was like unreal.
Yeah.
I feel like I belong, but like I also feel like I have no clue how the hell this happened.
No, you should feel
know?
like you belong and you deserve it. But
Yeah.
it's still, it's a crazy opportunity.
It's crazy,
and
man.
one that I know you're going to capitalize on. Are you playing in Georgia on that run?
Yeah, we're playing in Macon. We do a Macon show.
That's unreal, dude. I love Macon. I actually went down to Macon.
Do you like Macon?
Well, I have a hilarious story that probably shouldn't live on this podcast. But I went down to Macon. I played at a bar called the Crazy Bowl.
I know
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And let's just say the university. Well, there were some college kids out that night, and it ended with me on the side of a street later. But again, this is a family-friendly podcast, so we'll move on. It's not about me; it's about Austin. All right, so you got dates with Chase Matthew, you got dates with Jason Aldean. I assume you got new music coming out too, as well.
We're working on a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any plans for an album, or are you kind of still sticking to?
I think that's what we're working towards. Working towards an album, with some releases in between there for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I've been writing my face off the last 2 months. We got off the tour a couple months ago, and I'm glad that I've finally gotten to dive back into the writing things. Because I mean, I was writing during the tour, like I was coming off the road, but like you come off the road and get home, you know, at 4 o'clock in the morning on a Monday, and then you write on a Tuesday,
Right.
and Wednesday, and then you leave Thursday to play shows again. It's hard to kind of like stay in that mindset.
Well,
So
you're busy, man. And
yeah,
it's,
so we're dialed back a little bit now, and we got a
go.
little more time to focus on that. So I'm enjoying that.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait for the new music. I definitely am looking to catch you on this tour next year as well. I gotta ask, DMs have to be flooded.
All right.
They're all right.
Yeah, they're all right.
Yeah. What's the lady situation going on for Austin Snell right now?
Yeah, I mean, I got a girlfriend, so I can't. Speak on
Look at that.
but-
He's a family man. I like that.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But no, dude, the DMs are wild. I mean, as
Yeah.
far as
Yeah. Give me.
as far as everything else as well. Like, I mean, they're just wild in general.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, people like spill their whole life story in DMs. And so like every now and then I'll scroll through and like read some, and like, I mean,
You got a few minutes free. You're like, oh, I'll check out the DMs.
yeah,
And
yeah. But I mean, dude,
what's the craziest DM you've ever gotten?
probably all of your relatives coming back out, you know, like people you've never heard of, or like this dude that says, I know your dad, or like your mom, like we're related.
Yeah.
And you ask around and nobody has any clue who these people
who
are.
that is.
Yeah. So, I mean, probably, I mean, there's been some, we'll have to talk about that probably off camera, but
Yeah, you have to go to like ancestry.com and fact check these people that are in your DMs. That's wild. Well, okay. Well, that takes away from my next question, because I was going to ask if there was one country artist that you could date, who would it be? But you have a girlfriend, so you know what? I'm going to save you that one.
Carrie Underwood. I mean,
Look at that.
but she knows that though. So it's cool.
So
It's
you
cool.
have
It's
you have
cool.
a pact.
We're
You
equal
got
on
it.
that.
Yeah.
We're good.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, we do have one segment presented by our good friends at Ariat. I'm wearing their sweatshirt right now. They got some awesome apparel, country western apparel, and this segment is super easy. It is called Rapid Fire Questions. Something tells me you're going to be able to handle this. Maybe it's from all your training in the Air Force. Just you're able to deal with the pressure, because this is what's going to happen. I'm throwing you these questions. No matter what hits, I need rapid fire answers. Are we ready? 3, 2, 1. Most embarrassing thing at a live show.
Forgetting the words, probably.
Scale of 1 to 10. How good are you at keeping secrets?
9.
Are you a talker or a texter?
Texture.
Do you wear boots or sneakers more?
That was a lie. Sorry. I'm a talker.
He takes it back, right? Boots or sneakers?
Sneakers.
If Voldemort offered you a hug, would you accept it? Yes or no?
No.
I agree. Is double dipping allowed? Yes or no?
No.
Would you rather cuddle a baby panda or a baby penguin?
Penguin.
Penguins are so cute. If Kim Kardashian and Donald Trump were both drowning and you could only save one, who would it be?
Repeat it one more time. One more time. Let me hear that one.
If Kim Kardashian and Donald Trump were both drowning, but you can only save one, who would it be?
Trump.
Let's go. If you could, that's amazing. I don't even know what else. Oh, a dream venue.
Bridgestone.
Hell yeah, Nashville, baby. I love that. And let's see, dream collaboration.
Post Malone.
Fuck yeah, he might be doing country stuff now, which is pretty
I
cool.
want to do his stuff though.
You want to do,
Which
you
he can
wanna
make
hop
his
on
stuff anything, but I want like a Post Malone collab.
Snell Post Malone 2024. I'm here for it. That was rapid fire questions presented by Area. There were some good ones in there. That was awesome. You did not cave into the pressure, man. That was solid. It was solid. We'll edit out some of that. We'll edit out. That was too funny. All right. Man, it's been awesome following your journey.
Yeah,
thanks for hopping on
Absolutely,
and doing
brother.
this
Appreciate
before
you
the
for
end of the
having me,
year. Everyone can check you out across socials and Austin Snell online. Big tour next year, which I can't wait for. Anything else I'm missing, man?
I don't think so, brother. You got to come out to some of them though.
I would love to. I would really love to.
So let me know.
Yeah.
Where are you from again?
I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. So I don't know if you guys are going up there, but I will say
we'll be out there at some point. I'm sure.
I'm sure you will be, dude. I imagine you guys are going to do another big run next year off of the Chase and Jason dates as well. But if not, I may be down in Macon saying what's up.
Come to Crazy Bull, brother.
Yeah, thanks again to our friends here at iHeart for making this happen. Thanks to everyone that's hopped on 2023. It's been a pretty crazy run of guests, and 2024 is just going to be bigger and better. It's also going to be bigger and better for Austin, so make sure you guys check them out. And once again, Austin Snell, thanks, bro.
Appreciate you.